Malik Walker in the program in religion here at Hunter College. I'm teaching two courses, one on atheism and another on the problem of evil. What I'm really happy about is how students are there to really go deep into these topics and to really question themselves, question the texts, and open up their thinking to broader topics about life and also understanding where they work and belong in the world. The problem of evil is about the idea that God is all great, God is all powerful, God is all knowing, God created the world, and why is there suffering or why is there evil? And normally the question is like a math problem, it doesn't math very well. So what we're doing in this course is looking at the concept of evil, why it's very much a Western concept, or at least that's the way we're thinking about it, and how we work through the problem of evil by way of looking at its, what's the word? Its consequence, right, which is suffering. So really the class is on understanding or thinking about suffering in a broad way and how we can think through what it means to be human, knowing that one of our conditions is to suffer in the world, or that suffering is a condition in the world. Also, how looking at the world, reading the world as a difficult text is a way to engage differently, to make new or different decisions as we encounter and confront some of the harsh realities of life. I got into religious studies from very, very young. I was raised in a multi-religious family, and so I was very much exposed to different perspectives and having to figure out where do I fit in these communities. My mother is Christian, my father is Muslim. I am Buddhist. I'm a Buddhist monk. So I've gone around and done a lot of things. So in one sense, it was really out of this deep sense of trying to find where I belong and trying to understand what really uh, resonated with me and also where I could abide as a person learning, thinking, struggling, what have you. And so going to college, I studied theology. I got my master's in theology and my PhD in theology, in systematic theology. But more than just understanding something like the Christian religion or the way an inner dialogue of a religious tradition, I wanted to open up the view to seeing how different perspectives interpret the world. And so my particular area is in what we call hermeneutics, or theory of interpretation. And what's important about hermeneutics is the interdisciplinary way one engages with texts, difficult texts, but then also with reading history, reading the here and now, the signs of the time. And so for me, theology, religious studies was a way to think differently about the world, see the world in different angles, and also look at, engage with different traditions and their interpretation of being human, of struggle, of life as it moves on. It's about how people understand what's important in their lives, what's beyond them, where we come from, and how we perform that, how we uh, externalize those deep commitments, and also to understand when uh, though that externalization might be problematic or might be actually fulfilling. So that's kind of the gist of it, right? It's very much really kind of uh, being okay with frustration and being okay with pushing beyond the edges and not just looking for belonging, but also looking for what's real, what abides, what really stands as true for oneself and for a community. My research generally involves rethinking core concepts of religious traditions. Currently, I'm writing an article on Zen Buddhism in America, and this comes out of research and personal experience, but rethinking the idea of esotericism and exotericism, right, with the inner and the outer, and how with the transmission of Zen into the United States, a lot of things changed. A lot of the ideas and how to uh, practice Zen has, as much as it is about the way it's been for thousands of years, the way our mindsets have changed. And so the article is analyzing this idea of the inner and the outer, and how the historical and contextual reality of the United States affects Zen practice and, in a manner of speaking, Zen theology. I think that students really struggle with uh, courses when it comes to having to do everything. And a little secret is we don't expect you to do everything, but we expect that you engage. And in class, uh, to say the weird thing, right? Whatever arises, right? Commit to it, say it. It may be the thing that opens up the whole conversation and opens up a true learning experience for everybody, including me, including your professor. Uh, so doing everything is not as important as really being present and putting yourself forward uh, in the work. It doesn't matter if it's physics or religion or philosophy. Uh, put yourself into the work, and you'll see how much more you learn, because memory isn't just contained in the brain, it's contained throughout the entire body. And putting your body into an experience, you learn more, you grow, and you also learn to think differently and engage with life in multidisciplinary ways. What I love about teaching here is how hungry the students are to really talk, to really uh, open up about these deep things. I think one of the most surprising things for me that is how excited students get when we start to kind of break down kind of the allegorical or the metaphorical ideas of a tradition. I do a lot of mythology to start out a course, and looking at mythology not as just stories, but as rationale for why things are, and really breaking down what's super important and how these mythologies endure and and still speak to our condition as humans. I think I find that to be always fascinating, but also how the classroom dynamic changes because they see more than just stories. They see themselves, and they also see why it's important to struggle with these texts, or why it's important to think through, uh, you know, these rationales, and why they are either very core to how we deal with things or how controversial they are. They really love to engage in the controversy, and I love going there. So, um, yeah, just that hunger for thinking and that hunger for something different, thinking differently,